down there that runs through Australind. It's all paddocks one side and a lot of bushland around the rest of it. I used to go down there in summer swimming almost every day. A lot of wild berries and stuff all growing there. A lot of wildlife, wild pigs, things like that. So we used to go hunting and stuff like that down there. One night, it was just a nice night, so I thought I'd go for a walk down to the river. It's probably about 40-minute walk through the bushland on the bush tracks through to the river. It's normally beautiful down there, but there was just something about that night. It was like everything went quiet. I just felt like I was being watched, and I just didn't feel comfortable. I felt I had to get out of there quick. So I got up and I started walking up towards the bush track, and it was right near the river. I started walking along the bush track, so it's a fire trail, so it's all sand and there's no sticks or anything like that on there. So I was walking along there, not making any noise at all. There was bush to my right, and it was quite thick, dense bush, or trees and that. As I was walking, I heard crunch, crunch, like someone walking on sticks. And I sort of stopped because I was feeling edgy already. And so I looked to my right and I couldn't see anything because it was very, very dark. But it was, from what I remember, it was quite a bright night. So I walked again, but being cautious. And again, I heard crunch, crunch. I stopped and I could see an outline of something, and it was like when I stopped, it stopped. It was well over 7 foot tall, so even closer to 8 foot tall, that had hair on it about 2-3 inches long. So it looked more like a Wookiee or Star Wars sort of a thing, but a massive thing. And it was just the shape of it, and I just remember thinking, what am I looking at? So being really cautious, I took a few more steps. And as I took a few steps, it walked. And I heard crunch, crunch. And as I stopped, it stopped. And then as I walked, it walked. And so I thought, is this thing hunting me? So I didn't want to run because I thought if I run, this thing's going to, get me. So I walked as quickly as I could, trying to keep as calm as I could. And the bush track went towards the bend. It sort of bent to the right. And we were going straight at this stage, so I thought, if I'm going to take this bush track to the right, this thing and we're going to meet soon. It's going to come out onto the track. I just started running. I thought, I've got nothing to lose. I started running, and I didn't look back. So I'm wondering if they had watched me that whole time from the moment I put my bike down all the way down to the river. So I just grabbed my bike and I ran off. And I never, ever went to that spot again. Like, even if I go down there now and I go visit my family, it gives me the creeps. I won't go down that spot again. I'd never, ever heard of any stories like that, of anyone seeing anything like that. I knew that there were Aboriginal stories of yowies and things like that, but I thought they were just legends or something spiritual that they used to talk about. I don't think it was trying to hurt me because it had every chance to if it wanted to. I think it was probably more curious of me than just as much as I was of it. It was about a 30 to 40 minute walk through that track. So the whole thing probably would have lasted 20 minutes. 20 minutes of thinking you were being hunted by something, but I was probably only about 7 metres away from it too. Like, I was pretty close to it. It was hiding. It was trying to hide between the closest trees away from me. So that's why I could see so much of the hair and the size of it and the shape of it. So I saw it several times, and then the first time I saw the shadow, so I stood there for about a minute looking at the shadow, trying to work out what it was, and it was standing still. And then as I walked, I kept watching that shadow. So it was probably another minute or two watching this shadow move. And then I just didn't take my eyes off it the whole time. So it was probably to be watching in view a good 10 minutes, maybe watching this thing follow me through the bush.
You could clearly see it moving.
Clearly see it moving. It was clearly well over 7 foot, close to 8 foot, with hair, moving. It was like it thought it was hidden in the shadows and behind the trees. There's no doubt of what I saw at all. My boyfriend at the time was 6'5", and this thing towered over him. would have towered over him, yeah. I think he was about 80 kilos, and this thing was a lot bigger, like a lot more solid.
So when you're looking at it, are you looking at something the shape of just a human or something different?
It wasn't human. The closest thing I could describe it to is Wookiee from, the Chewbacca from Star Wars. Except he doesn't have the shape that this had. Like, this had more muscle tone. It was absolutely solid. Absolutely. Not like bodybuilder solid, but lean solid. It was standing and walking upright on two legs, and from what I saw, it ran like a human as well. It did not run like an animal.
So you're saying you actually saw it walking and running? Walking
and running, yeah. Yep, very, very clearly. I could definitely make out hair 2 or so inches long, 2 or 3 inches long. And it wasn't just on its arms, it was the whole face area seemed to be covered in hair. I would say like an orangutan. Long and smoother like an orangutan, but it has that messy, fuzzy ends on it without being matted. There was no way that this was human. I knew it wasn't human. It just didn't. To me, it wasn't an animal, but it wasn't human. It was something I had never ever seen before in my life. I can't describe it. It definitely was not a man. It just didn't have the fineness of a man or the... I can't... It was just strange. It was like everything went quiet. You know how you can be in the bush and there'll be a predator and everything just goes quiet? It was like that. And I just had that sense I was being watched. And it just got so strong. Almost a fear started, and I thought... it was almost like something was saying, you need to get out now, otherwise you're not getting out. Extremely strong. Yeah, I've never ever felt anything like that before or since.